Every place in Puerto Rico has its unique charm, and Bello Monte is no exception. When Luis Daniel Rivera was just 10 years old, his family moved to Bello Monte, a small residential neighborhood located in Los Frailes ward I Guaynabo. Back in 1980, Guaynabo was far from what it is today. Over the years, it has become one of the most developed and affluent municipalities in the island. Los Frailes, once a quiet community, grew into one of Guaynabo's most exclusive areas. With the construction of the Rafael Martinez Nadal Expressway, residential developments, and commercial centers, Bello Monte evolved into a highly connected and strategic urban enclave. Its location offers exceptional accessibility. From Martinez Nadal Expressway, you can reach the State Road No. 2 to connect to Puerto Rico Highway No. 20 toward the west, and Las Cumbres Avenue, which links the Las Americas Expressway heading San Juan, Caguas, and Ponce. From there, you can access to Route No. 30 to Humacao, or connect through the Trujillo Alto Expressway to the Luis Muñoz Marin International Airport and the Eastern Region via Route 66. What started as a social housing development in the late 70s is now a neighborhood with a prime location, thanks to its elevated topography and strategic location. Bello Monte sits at one of the highest points in the area, near the PRS filtration plant, an area locals call Los Filtros. From there, the views are breathtaking. You can see a young and spectacular sunrises and trace the landscape across the central mountain toward the west, capturing a panoramic view of Guaynabo's urban core. At the top of Bello Monte, along Calle O, there's a plot of land that was once intended to be a community park. Over the years, it fell into disuse and was forgotten, left abandoned. Today, the remnant of land, filled with stories and overlooked potential, becomes the setting for a new vision. Luis Daniel returns to the very neighborhood that shaped him to introduce unique residential proposal. The location of this lot makes it impossible to escape the mysticism provoked by the panoramic view that runs from east to west from the El Yunque National Forest and along east to west until reaching the visible point in the west between the mountains of Bayamon, Aguas Buenas and Comerio. In front of this scene, the urban spectrum stands out, where the Urban Center of Guaynabo takes scenic prominence, and in secondary roles, points as distant as this share that scene, such as Aguas Buenas, the rural area of Guaynabo, Rio Piedras, Trujillo Alto, Cupey, and in the distance Carolina and Rio Grande. There is no ocean view, as this site's location faces south, which makes the entire house revolve around those views. The layout of this proposal distributes its 4,500 square meters of construction into a single-story structure divided into two sections along a central axis, which houses the main entrance, the foyer, and the north-south corridor that connects the two sections of the home. For this proposal, as is typical in Luis Daniel's designs, the integration of the interiors with the exteriors once again takes center stage. The height of the ceilings along the entire length also plays a central role, establishing a certain hierarchy and a certain interplay of perception throughout the property. The color white, One of the hallmarks of Louis Daniel's projects is integrated with greyish tones, wood, glass, and stainless steel to create a unique and elegant fusion with the surrounding natural landscape. Unlike other proposals developed by Louis Daniel, this one does not include spaces beyond those necessary for a conventional residence. Even in this proposal, he does not include swimming pools, terraces, or family rooms. Instead, Louis Daniel emphasized that the available square footage be distributed in such a way that all the spaces in the home are comfortable, functional, and capable of meeting the needs of its owners. Instead of a covered terrace, Louis Daniel uses a platform that borders the living room module on the northeast and southeast sides, creating an open-air space where you can sunbathe or enjoy the scenic landscape, where the nighttime views make this enclave comparable to places at the same altitude. The residence is divided into two sections, which are further subdivided into individual spaces. The eastern section, running north to south, contains a concrete base for a 60 kilowatts power generator, a covered garage for 3 vehicles, a utility and maintenance closet, a secondary entrance, a powder room, the kitchen, dining area, living room, and an outdoor deck. Between the dining room and living room is a garden that provides access to the outdoors, and are connected through it by a set of folding doors that open wide. The central axis of the house, which runs from the main entrance in the north, runs through the hall area, whose 12-foot high ceiling is shared with the dining area. The central axis, when it reaches the core point, where it interacts with the public and private areas, opens towards the ceiling with a grid of skylights that delimit that space, and then make a sudden drop from 12 feet to 8 feet to make the transition to the living room area and access to the exterior platform on the south side of the property. The western section of the house houses the 3 bedrooms, the laundry area, which shares the space with a Tesla battery closet, and the foundations for the solar energy installation. This section is further divided into subsections by a core that connects them, and includes an open-air interior patio. To the north are 2 identical bedrooms, each with its own bathroom and walk-in closet. At the south end is the laundry area and electrical room, facing away from the central hallway. At the southwest end is the master bedroom, offering spectacular panoramic views to the south and southeast. From here, you can contemplate the spectacular sunrises, offering a new and unique spectacle year-round. This new proposal was conceptualized based on the structural concrete insulated panel system, which in Puerto Rico is being worked on in coordination with Ecologica Carmelo, Inc. This technology, in addition to being resistant to hurricane winds of up to 250 miles per hour, and being an earthquake-resistant structure, its greatest attraction is its low thermal transfer of value, which, given the insulating core of the system, allows the owner to enjoy pleasant interior spaces. In the face of the stifling tropical heat, Luis Daniel uses his distinctive style, never missing an opportunity to create an interplay between the interior and exterior, highlighting the importance of Puerto Rico's tropical environment. This property was conceptualized with a utopian vision, as Luis Daniel, since childhood, always envisioned this space as the perfect place to build a home. I'm Stacey McCallan, and thank you once again for joining me on this virtual tour of Luis Daniel Rivera's new proposal. Cima de Bello Monte. For more about Luis Daniel's work, you can follow us through social networks, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and you can follow us through our YouTube channel at LDRSSOCILLC, and you can also follow us through our website, www.ldrssocaa.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you soon.